Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. X special, right? So yesterday live recap on X kind of was was a good feedback. So I'm going to continue to post the recaps here every day and on our trades and teachings for 20 minutes. I'm going to try to keep it under 20 minutes every day, and so that you guys can learn and from how we traded, what were winners, what were losers. So let's start. So today, before I start, just a quick introduction. I'm not going to do a long introduction. Everything I discuss is here from mostly from the community or anything that I tweet or I share on YouTube. All the plays that we discuss are from our pre-market game plan that we have in our community. Our community is one of the largest trading communities, not an alert service, one-stop shop trading communities where we have bunch of tools, 3-4 option scanners, stock scanners, breaking news, a lot of tools and thousands of traders trading in our community every day, finding opportunities. So I make this game plan every day in the pre-market live. So it has a news plays, earning plays, index stocks, and it has upgrade downgrades. And we also trade futures. We have futures plan for crypto stocks, ETFs and Mag 7s, and we also trade day two repeatable strategy. So all right, so that's a quick introduction. Let's start talking about SPY QQQ. So what was happening in SPY QQQ today? I was not really a big fan of the SPY QQQ action today. I avoided it, and so did I tell my traders in my community to avoid this action today, because most of the day was chop, right? And it's expected, because once we run for a few days, we are running crazy, and you can expect the chop or some kind of consolidation when after we have few days of long huge runs, right? So let's look at SPY and let's look at QQQC. So it was not really a great day. I mean, for the futures traders, SPY QQQ traders, because you can clearly see the consolidation. I don't really have to explain it too much to you. You can see that if I try to draw this, let me draw this level here. So if I try to draw this, like here, you can see that, right? Up, couldn't break over the pre-market highs, down, couldn't break the pre-market lows, up, couldn't break the pre-market highs or opening highs, right? So it made whatever range it made in first 30 minutes, it held that. So there was no really trade there. That's why you will not see my my guidance there. I just told the traders to sit on hands. We tried to see if we can break out of the pre-market highs at the open. We failed and nothing happened. So there's nothing really to trade in the market today. So that's why it was kind of a slow day on SPY QQQs. Not every day is going to be big day. You can watch the recaps from last few days. You can see that how we nailed a big run. If you see that this is the day you long 10 a.m. calls, this is the day you long 10 a.m. breakouts. Nothing happened here after 10 a.m. We were stuck in the chop. So basically it was a chop, sit on hand day. If something you learned from today's action is that it was a sit on hand day. Why was it a sit on hand day? The price was stuck in the morning range. VIX neither went up too much, neither broke down under 1740, and that's what the plan in the pre-market planning was. Market gapping down, only long if over 3450s. Gave the levels of SPY QQQ, and I gave the levels for VIX. So basically nothing really triggered for us, and nothing really triggered for us. Yeah, so we will discuss few of the MiG-7 names. So why was it? Even though market was choppy, if you look at Tesla, nice trades in Tesla today. We'll recap that, and then we'll look at NVDA as well. So both of these were short setups, right? Both of these were short. So Tesla was a short. Everybody traded it short. And in the community today, you can see that MTF short. I will talk about that in a bit. NVIDIA was a short because it was breaking this 3450 clouds. And, you can see that even in the community, every M-Trade was guiding everybody through that short. So whole community, because we follow a pretty much system, none of us in the community, there were over like 1,500 people online today. None of us were trying to buy these things, right? When we break down here, even the market was in chop, but the individual names were heavy, right? So you just need to find the trend, and then you need to get an entry And once you find the trend, you trade long or short, whatever the trend is telling you. All right, so what was the plan on Tesla? Tesla is under 1 hour MTF trade versus 1 hour MTF. That was the simple plan, nothing complex about it. So that means as soon as it breaks down, you take a short, right? So I'm giving this level in the pre-market on Tesla, 343 breaks, do you take a short? No looking back. And it's an MTF magnet. So what is an MTF magnet? Once something breaks down. So once something breaks down on Ripster, one of the Ripster MTF clouds, it always acts as the magnet. The next MTF acts as a magnet. So MTF is a multi-timeframe EMA clouds based upon the daily EMAs, 1 hour EMAs that I invented. So the traders hold their shorts, right? What did I say in the morning? Target to the lower MTF, right? So that I said that right in the first 14 minutes, and by like next half an hour, we hit MTF and we have hit lower. So if you look at your ports, if you want to trade ports, you can trade TSLL leverage ETFs, you can trade options on TSLL, short TSLL, you can long TSLQ. You can see that if the puts went from like what? Today is Wednesday, so they're lotos. They went from $2 to $8. Even if you got $3, it easy 100% trade there. If you could have a risk like $1,000 or something, you could have made that $1,000 there easily, because the bearish setup. We don't want to long it. It's a bearish setup. We had the plan. Our MTF cloud was giving us that setup, right? So that was Tesla. So let's look at NVDA. So what was happening in NVDA? So let's see what was our plan on the NVDA. Let's look here on our levels in NVIDIA. So the levels on NVIDIA we had were 140, 141, 140.69. So though we had the level, these were our levels on NVIDIA. I was not personally focusing on NVIDIA. There's so much else going on, but the traders in the community were on top of it, because once you break this level, you saw that it's the sector was heavy. The sector was relatively weaker yesterday, or stronger, right? So most of the traders, Michael Crow, Fish, Trade, they were short. Everybody was calling out the short in the community. So that's how they shorted it from this area. The first target is always yesterday's close, then this 1 hour level from yesterday's bounce, and then of course the MTF. So you can see that from 34.50 we always touch the MTF. So that was the Tesla, the NVIDIA short. So those were a couple of plays we had in the community today and in the morning. Even though market was choppy, but Tesla and NVIDIA did provide those opportunities, because whenever something has run up so much the previous day, there's always some kind of profit taking, especially if it's a heavy market. Even though it was not super heavy, we were choppy, but we could see that the sector was heavy. So that was why NVIDIA and Tesla were great opportunities to make some profit on the downside. All right, so let's quickly talk about, we're going to talk about CoreWeave, right? So every day I talk about CoreWeave. I have like 10 videos of recaps on CoreWeave today, so I'm not going to go back and show you the swing setups and why it's squeezing. We know it's squeezing. I talk about the gamma squeezers, talk about the short squeezers, talk about the low floats, all that. So what was happening today? We had insane day on CoreWeave yesterday. You can watch yesterday's recap. So let's look at our plan on CoreWeave. So let's see what was our plan on CoreWeave this morning. So for that plan, we have to go into our day two planning sheet, which is our day two strategy, right? So this was the CoreWeave plan: 150 to 60 support, 160 to resistance, all-time high breakout in pre-market highs, 1 hour MTF support below at 138. So we know what our levels were, so we would have trade accordingly. But when I saw the weakness in the morning candle right here, I told the traders to short CoreWeave, right? So I told the traders to short CoreWeave because I was expecting some kind of profit taking after a huge run. I did tell them that the 150 is like a huge, there's a huge support at 150. Put your stops at 156 right here. Put your stops here under 34.50s. You short it. The problem with CoreWeave is like the options are so much IV that you barely, the traders, even if it dropped like 10 points, the traders barely made 50% on their puts. Right, so that makes it really hard to trade to the downside, and it's so crowded that everybody's trying to short it. Guess what? When everybody's trying to short it, then and they're trying to cover it on little bounces and panicking, it's not going to go down that easy. It will eventually come back, but it's not ready yet. So anyways, we tried to short it, then it pushed our 512, we got out. So you can see I stole the short in the morning, and when it came back 10:30, it came back, I said close the short over it. It tried to push a few times, didn't really work there. But then came the midday call. So this was the midday call. It was right here when we pushed over this one. Let me see if I can show you that here. Um, yeah, it was right here. So I gave this call at 5 versus 153 risk, because if the first call fails, the second call is usually pretty, it's good. It usually works from a repeatable and statistical point of view. So you take a long right here as it pushes, and you risk like what, win 153. So if you're taking 100 shares, you're risking what, $200 or $300. But at the end of the day, you are making $700-800, right? So options risk is a little different. You probably buy one or two couple of contracts, assuming that if it breaks down here, you get out, right? But anyways, that was my call guidance here to the traders on the community. And then as soon as we started to push, we started to move stops up to 156. Then the target I gave when we were trading at 156 was pre-market high was 162. We hit that pre-market highs, and then we even pushed it more. I told traders to exit at end of the day, because you never know, right? One of the day a big red candle is coming, and I don't want to be part of that big red candle. Yes, if you have a lotos, you have a 200 lotos, 100% risk, yeah, throw it in. With 100% risk, you can't put your portfolio in those. But it was not really huge interest to let it go there. Anyways, so that was core weave. The short was kind of choppy, but there was a call trade that we did in the community here. All the timestamp guidance here. So let's go to the next one. All right, so let's look at CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike we tried to short in the morning, but very soon we knew that it's not going to be a fade. I even alerted about the calls in there on X as well. You can watch the tweets below when I gave the alerts. But anyways, let's see here. So CrowdStrike, highlighted play, focus play, bearish bias, only long if 450 holds. Read this carefully. Only long if 450 holds, or we call the 512s. So what happens here, right? So we try to short it. You see this first candle. So I said initially when it was swiping, I said do not short it. But when I saw the rejection, I said short it. So we try to short it. You short a couple of hundred shares. You short like 300 shares, and you're risking $600-700 because you're expecting the fade under 450. But again, it swiped over 450 and it pushed back up. So we took that loss, on when it started to curl. Now, we took the short loss because of course it's not going, and there's no use of holding. Even if you short it at 450, you have to get out, take a $600-700 loss. If you had 200 shares, you can't just, or options, whatever you're trading, options are high IV, you probably will lose 30-40% on your option lotos if you hold. But there's no use of holding a short when there's a clearly signal that's not going down, and our system tells us, right? So we don't have to guess. So there it was a long. So that's what I told the traders. 512 calls out of short. 512 calls stops at 452. Over 458, you will get 450 calls. Just don't have a bad entry. And we started to push. I gave the stops of 453. Then I gave the target of 464. We hit our first target. Then we moved the stops to 455. Then from there on, we drew some Fibonacci's that I always teach you guys to draw the Fibonacci's, and we continue to push towards that 464 target. Our final target was 468, 470, 472. We did meet all our targets except the 472s. And then when finally break 512, we got out. I told the traders to exit. Right? So I told the traders to exit when we broke that 512s, and you can see you could even short it again for 10 points. So even if you have 200 shares long at 454 when we were curling, you could easily make $2,500 on those 200 shares. Remember, we lost $600, $700, but we are making $2,500. So it's a net green trade, but we need to minimize our loss here and maximize our profits here, right? So look at this range, right? Morning range was what, $6, $7, $8, and what was this range? Almost $20. So that's where you need to profit more, and you need to hold. This was a call break, this was a flag break, this was a flag break, this was a resistance break. So beautiful trade, right? So CrowdStrike, easy to, and you could short it again and then just leave it alone. Midday choppiness was there, but that was our CrowdStrike trade. Overall, a green trade. Let's go to the next one. All right, so next one we're going to look at is ASTS. So let's see what was the plan on ASTS. In the pre-market planning, when I was on voice, I told the traders that it has been a while that ASTS has run. It has been a while. It likes to run. We had some amazing trades on ASTS we did have those trades like 6-7 months ago, or we traded. We know the personality. The point is we know the personality of ASTS, space sector, hard sector. When it gets squeezed, it squeezes it nicely. So Scotiabank came in and they said they have, they're speculating a partnership investment by Amazon. Support was 25, resistance was 26, trade versus 25, neutral buy. So the simple plan was the trade versus 25. Right, so I was busy in other trades and it swiped right away. You could trade that long right away as soon as you see that amateur move. Then it flushed. So I told the traders to get out of this 512 because it's breaking down. And if it breaks 25, you have completely get out. But it held the 3450 bounce. So this is our morning 3450 bounce long. And this is a 512 call. And this is where I told the traders to get back in. I was on the voice. So I told the traders to get in the curl. I mean, my traders know the system. We are not blind traders there. They're not looking for alerts. We know what we are doing. That's how we are consistent. We are making good profits. We have our losers, but we keep losers under control, right? So, anyways. So let's say you lost it, you got a position at 26.50 and you lost $1 per share, or you lost 30-40% on the options. But you got back in the calls with your target of the high of the day. Then you see the breakout. I gave the target of 29. I moved the stops to 27. As it's pushed toward 29, we moved our stops to 28. At end of the day, it broke down at 28.50. You could still get out. So that was a nice trade from 26.20 to 28.50. If you want to look at the look at the options, you can look at what let's look at 28 calls, right? So those 28 calls ran from like 30 cents to $1.40. Right, so if you have $200, they're $1,200. $1,000. They became $4,000. So that's kind of, even if you lost some in the morning, that's fine, because this is the midday setup. That setup is gone. The morning setup is failed. But then you got your midday 10 a.m. setup, and that was ASTS. Let's go to the next one. All right, so 2 days in the row, HIMS has did bad to us. Again, we lost on that long again, but it again provided the opportunity to short. So you see that we longed it, broke MTF, you short it right away. Just like yesterday, it breaks 512, you short it, you do not buy. 2 days in a row, same thing. Push, trap the bulls, flush. Push, trap the bulls, flush. But you need to remember this personality. When a stock has done it once, you have to remember that it can do the same thing that it did yesterday, and it can flush under those 1 hour MTF clouds, right? So you have to know the personality. We tried to long it, did not work. We took a couple $1 loss and just left it alone after that. Let's look at some other plays in the community today. We had some nice plays, earning plays, right? So we had HPE, Hellwood Packard, 1850 support, 19, beats revenue, beats EPS. I told the traders long over 1850, gap and crap under it, breakout at 19. But what did HPE do? HPE was a gap and crap right at the open. This is the level I gave, 1850. Right away you short it, right away you buy the puts, take it all the way down. You can see my guidance. So you can see my guidance on there that it's gonna gap and crap, and you could easily take it down all the way, take it down to the 18 target, and your puts are, even if you're trading 18 puts, 1850 puts, whatever you're trading, let's see here. There's not a lot of liquidity, so the shares are much better. They traded like the decent volume in the morning. You could take like from 5 cents to 40 cents. You could easily take like 300% there because it's a small account special. So that was HPE. So let's look at some more earning plays there. So we had DLTR. So DLTR was a gap and crap. So there was a bunch of gap and craps today, right? So I told the traders it's a gap and crap. MTF flushes, gaps and crap, repeatable setup. 93.50, 96 trade versus 1 hour MTF. Once it broke the 1 hour MTF, that was it. It was a gap and crap. You see that? And the same thing was for for Dollar General day 2 short. So you can see that yesterday where they were long, same sector, they were short. So there were some other earning plays as well. Let's look at GWRE. GWRE was amazing long in the community. Bullish bias to long on the pullbacks. So my guidance was bullish bias to long on the pullbacks. And let's look at that. This is the amateur candle 3450 conforming 512 long. You long here, your stops there, and continuous guidance in the community by the traders, RGV, D trades. Everybody was continuously guiding these on that long setup. GW A plus setup. D trade was on it in the pre-market only, and then RGB was on top of it. All-time high breakout A plus setup. That's what we call it, A plus setup. My traders know it. We trade it, so that was a beauty. All right, try to keep it under 20 minutes, maybe a little bit higher. I just want to talk about a few of the setups that I talked about on the swing. So I gave this. So I'm going to talk about Snow, right? So I gave this setup on Snow few weeks back, or like I've been talking about this. I tweeted about this setup. You see this multi-year breakout. So the swing was versus 200. Your stops at 200. I gave the targets of 220, right? The first target of 220 on this swing. And you can see that Snow almost touched 217 today, right? So that was a swing setup versus 200. So these are the setups you trade versus psychological numbers. It touched 217, even though it was a gap and crap this today. So similarly, there was a setup of Apple. We've been trading Apple versus 200. It touched 206, right? Of course, the market is back down, dumping right now. So those kind of psychological numbers you can do to trade short-term swings, where you can exclude the 10-minute charts. You can trade the 1-hour charts. You can see Apple was holding the 1-hour chart from 200. You could make those, even if, let's say, you're buying shares or options, whatever you're doing it based upon your risk management webinar, watch that. You could make some money. It's a repeatable strategy, right? Because if it doesn't work, you take a loss. If Apple is not working, you make $2-3 loss. Not a great risk reward, because it gives for fading. So you still got $6 on that, and if you risk $2 on Snow, you still got $15 on that, right? So you can have that risk reward on these setups. All right. So just wanted to cover those couple of things. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.